Hello again and welcome to Ndudu by Fafa.
And then we've got the whole goat stroganoff. Now also there, Charlie, in your grow, stroganoff, where research would have made trouble for not to go. Yeah, research because stroganoff nearly is strong. Oh my gosh, why would I be saying such a thing? Then again, hey, how do you know you are going to Dubai? Yeah, so let's start. I'm already in the kitchen, so I'm just going to take a step and a step. So traditionally, this Russian dish is made with beef, and of course, it would then be called beef stroganoff. But this is the Ndudu by Fafa cookery channel and it's creative cooking. Now, if you watched my previous video about the smoked garden egg stew, which is to die for, it's incredible and flavor packed. I talked you through how I steamed my goat meat and I divided that portion in two. So is the remaining portion, the other half, that's what I'm using to make my stroganoff. Now this recipe is just to give you an alternative to, creating a different kind of meal for yourself. If you're bored with the everyday dishes, this is something that is quick, provided you've steamed your goat meat. Now the goat meat has been steamed in ginger, onion, garlic and aniseed, which is my holy grail, and it has been slow cooked till it's tender for about 45 minutes to an hour. Absolutely. So I'm almost done here, which means that I'm now going to be adding my onions. Now you know me and onions in this channel, but then again, this is required for the recipe. But then again, I also love my onions. And I'm just gonna mix everything together till it's well combined. Now, when it comes to mushrooms as well, you can be creative. You can use your shiitake mushrooms, your chestnut mushrooms, whatever mushrooms that you have available. And that gives you that bulk in that dish as well. But I love the flavor that the mushroom does add to it. So you've got the onions that's going to be sweet. You've got the mushroom that's going to give it that woody taste as well. And you've got that goat meat that's also, infused with the aniseed, the ginger, the garlic, and onion as well. You see. So now I'm going to mix this together and I'm just going to allow this to simmer yet again on a medium to low heat to simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. And here we have it. Now, what I've done is I've reserved part of the mushrooms for much later when I would add it, because I need that crunch and texture as well. So at this point, I'm like, yeah, this looks good. I mean, be creative. You can use your lamb. If you want to use the beef, which is the traditional way of doing it, you can use your beef. All you need to do is just brown your beef. Now, I have got my cloves of garlic that I have sliced. You can crush it whichever way you want, and I've added this to the mixture. I need a little bit more stock, so I've just added a little bit of water to it, and I'm going to mix this and simmer this for another 8 minutes. So at this point, I can see it's just simmering perfectly and beautifully, just the way I like it. As I always say, this is not any other food. This is Ndudu by Fafa creative cooking, which means that I'm just open to traditional methods that are twisted, infuse new flavors. Why not? Life is boring just for you to be eating the same old boring food every day. Oh, no. The next ingredient I'm going to add is a teaspoonful of my mustard. You can use either the English or French mustard, it doesn't matter. Equally works, but of course the English mustard is spicier and I prefer that for this dish because it adds that extra depth of flavor that it does require. Absolutely. Now the next thing I'm going to add is my Worcestershire sauce, and I have used the Lear and Perrins brand, but these are readily available in most supermarkets. In the absence of that, you can use a little bit of dark soy sauce because it's not the same, but equally works. Absolutely. So, don't be put off by that. If that's what you have, you can use that. It's about, improvising and using what you do have available. Now I'm adding a little bit of freshly milled black peppercorns, and you notice that I have omitted salt from this recipe. Reason is when I did steam the goat meat, it did did include salt, so that's why. Now, I did mention earlier that I was going to add the remaining mushrooms to it for that extra texture, because there's one thing about cooking as well. When you're cooking, you should have the consistency right. You should have that crunch as well. You should have, that sort of depth of flavor. So each of my videos emphasizes on things like this that you might not necessarily pay attention to, but it does make a big difference. So of course this has simmered and is just infused. Now I'm liking the way it is, but I can see that the stock is a little bit on the runny side and I need to thicken this up. So mix 1 heaped teaspoonful of your corn starch, which is what I've used here, but if you have flour you can use your flour, and I've mixed it with 4 tablespoonfuls of water, and then I've added this mixture together. Now I'm going to allow this to cook so that it cooks the rawness away. Now if you're going to be using flour, it's best to actually cook the flour earlier. So at the time that I was steaming the goat meat, just add that to it, because the flour would need at least about 5 to 7 minutes cooking time so that the rawness vanishes from the dish. The whole point of this dish is to intensify its flavor. So at this point I'm just going to allow this to simmer, and it's just going to have that beautiful thick consistency. Now this dish is almost done. You can see it's dark, it's rich, and now I can be adding my cream to it. So I've got my double cream. I'm just adding a little bit. Now bear in mind that I'm going to be leaving the list of ingredients and measurements on my blog in ndudubyfafa.blogspot.com. Now one thing I like about this dish is, yes, it has that creaminess, but also it has a slight tanginess, and that you do get by including the next ingredient. Now it's important that at this point, once this has simmered, you then turn the heat off before you add your next ingredient. It's important because if not, it's going to curdle. Next ingredients I'm going to add is my sour cream. In the absence of that, you can use your all-natural yogurt. I do have a homemade yogurt recipe that I'll leave links in the description box below, so you can make your own, and that goes a long way. Of course, I'd also leave a link to the smoky garden next to you on how I steamed my goat meat as well, so do check the description box below. Now, of course, I'm using the residual heat in cooking the sour cream through because I don't want it to curdle. Now, if this is on a high heat and you do add the sour cream or yogurt, it curdles and then it just splits and it just doesn't look good. So that's the way I find it. Equally, what you can do is also scoop some of the sauce and add to your sour cream, mix it, and then before you add it to it, because it means that it's hot and it maintains that temperature. But yeah, once that's done, I've just sprinkled it with a little bit of my spinach. Now, ideally one would use like parsley, but the reason why I've just used the spinach is because my goat meat is already spiced. It's got the ginger, the onion, the aniseed in there anyway. Oh, this is incredible. Now, seriously, just leave this for about 4 to 5 minutes and then serve it. You can serve this with the Ghanaian wheat, the black rice. I'll leave the link in the description box below, so do check it out. Pasta even, you can be creative with it. Look, if you want to enjoy this with some yam or some boiled plantain, why not? Be creative, enjoy it. You might just like it too much. You see. As I always say, this is not any other food. This is Ndudu by Fafa, and I hope you're inspired to try the recipe. So if this is your first time for tuning in to my channel, you're welcome and thank you very much for watching. I hope I have given you that reason to click the subscribe button if you haven't done so yet, and most importantly, the notification button, because each time I do upload a video, you're notified of it and you do not miss a thing. Now my notification gang, girls and boys, Odoni ye deep, the love is deep. Charlie, you guys are incredible. You keep me going, you keep moving me forward. I'm always grateful to you, and I'll tell you, that's why I can't wait to always create new recipes for you guys. Somebody actually asked me the other day, when I get run out of recipes, oh no, I don't think I will. Maybe when the big man says it's time for me to go, but until then, we need to go me a dream, flavour, yeah. Naturally, I'd leave the list of ingredients and measurements on my blog ndudubyfafa.blogspot.com, so do check it out. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat as Ndudu by Fafa. Do follow me there for updates. Yes, until next time, you take care of you. You be nice, you be beautiful. Exactly. And if you're ever going to change, just change for you. Because when you become a better person, you attract better people around you. And guess what? I love you for you. So yes, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to click the subscribe button, like the video, and share, and try the recipe and leave comments below with your feedback. Toodles.